What's happening, sports fans? Welcome back to another episode of Mama and Papa Joe's. Today on the menu is rib tips and cabbage. I'm gonna cook them in the oven. It's a chilly day. It's some 35 degrees outside. This is going to be the perfect dish for a good cold day, man. A nice hearty meal. I've got some rib trimmings that I've saved up, built up, and they're going to be perfect in this recipe. We got green cabbage, some potatoes, some onions. Very simple recipe, easy to make, cheap on the wallet, but absolutely hearty and delicious. Thank you for stopping in once again. If this is your first time, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. We're looking forward to having you watch our videos. Without further ado, let's get going. All right, to start, here's about 5 pounds of rib trimmings from several racks of ribs. I buy whole full-size racks and I cut them down to the size I want for competition, and I save the trimming and the scraps. This recipe calls for everything to be cooked in the house, on the stove, in the oven, but you know me, I'm always trying to kick things up a notch. So I'm going to throw these larger pieces on my Weber just to get a quick char and some color. And these smaller pieces, I'm going to brown them in my pan and then add my liquids to that pan to get the remnants for the base of the sauce, the juice that's going to go along with the cabbage, potatoes, and onions. To season, 2 things. Coarse cracked black pepper, and of course some Tony's. Let's go. Nice healthy seasonings. We got a lot of veggies that will need to be complemented, so don't hesitate, don't be afraid. Tony's has got a significant amount of salt, so here you've got to be careful. Remember, you can always add salt in the end, but you can't take it away. Oh, we're gonna do both sides. We want both sides to taste good. We're gonna call that good. We're gonna be taking these outside shortly and browning these here in the house. For the rest of the action, I've got a medium-sized green cabbage, 2 medium-sized to large onions. I really love onions. If you're not a fan, you can cut back. And then I've got about 5 medium-sized potatoes. I'm gonna peel these potatoes, chop up these onions. Ooh, that Tony's got me going. And I'll be back shortly to show you how I've cut them up. All right, so just getting one of the onions and those big chunks I spoke about, some quick char, some browning for the color, little additional flavor. Just got to be quick. You don't want things to burn. Couple more minutes. Let's brown these small pieces. My pan is on my stove heating up. I'm going to come back with about 2 tablespoons of some good olive oil. Get that nice and hot. And I'm gonna simply drop those small pieces that I spoke about. And all I'm trying to do is just to get those nicely browned. On both sides. Then I want to use the drippings that are left in the pan to really be the base of my sauce. All right, so that's taken a good 10 minutes, 5 minutes per side. And this is what I'm looking for, nice browning. I'm going to remove these. I'm going to turn my stove down to medium low. And what I'm looking for are these brown bits that's left in here, right there. That oil, I'm gonna take some paper towel and just suck up the majority of that oil. All I want are those brown bits. Now to build my sauce, I'm on medium. I'm gonna start with 1/3 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. 1/3 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. 2.5 tablespoons of brown sugar. And we just want to slowly scrape up all those brown bits that we created by browning those rib trimmings. This is how simple this recipe is, folks. All this. All right, I've got those brown bits up. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of minced garlic. Once you're satisfied you've got all those brown bits up, you can turn off your stove. And we are now getting ready to put this together and drop it in the oven. You're gonna need a nice sized roasting pan. First thing we're gonna do is come back with our chopped cabbage. We wanna lay that in the bottom. It's gonna look like a lot of cabbage, but if you know anything about cabbage and anything green of this type, it tends to cook down very quickly. So don't let that scare you. So all our cabbage goes in the bottom. I'll come back with my chopped potatoes, and I chopped everything fairly large because it's going to be in that oven for a little bit, and we don't want it to fall apart completely. All right, we just want to mix that in just a hair. Those onions, same thing, nice and large. I've got one completely raw onion, and I've got one grilled onion. I love onions. If you're not a fan, don't use as much as I did. There we are. Again, just give that a little mix. Now come back with the star of the show. All that meat that I browned, both on the stove and on the grill. All right, right there on top. Right there on top. Oh, this looks divine already. Smells great. Again, I also chopped up, cut them up into nice little bits, nice sized pieces. Any juices left in your pan or tray, again, don't let it go to waste. Take advantage of it. Pour that on there. Come back with my brown bits. And again, it won't be a lot. Not a lot is required. There we are. That is all we need right there. And we're just gonna pour this over. Just gonna pour it over. Try to get it everywhere. You want every last drop. Folks, my oven has been preheated to 325 degrees. Last thing I'm gonna do is come back with a little more Tony's. A little more cracked black pepper. I'm gonna put the lid on. And I'm gonna drop this in my oven at 325 for a total of 2 hours. At the 1 hour mark, I'll pull it out, stir it, really move the meat underneath some of the cabbage. All right, here we are at an hour. Oh, yes sir. Smelling and looking good. You can see that cabbage is starting to cook down. That meat is browning just a little more. We got some good juices on the bottom. So now we're just gonna give this a nice stir. Really get that meat involved with the rest of the potatoes and the cabbage. All right, I can use just a little more Tony's. And back in the oven. Here we are at that 2 hour mark, folks. The house smells absolutely delicious. Let's take a look at this. Oh, yes sir. Man, this is absolutely delicious. Oh, look at that. Look at these juices. Oh. And this meat is just so tender. Ooh. Oh. I'm telling you, you've got to make this. This is absolutely delicious. Very simple. You know, I went the extra distance to brown it on the grill to get a little char, to get a little smoke flavor. Not necessary. All you gotta do is brown it on the stove, put it in the oven. But if you want that, if you want to just kick it up a notch, put it on that Weber for a couple of minutes, man, to get some color. And again, this is just scraps. It's just left over from my rib trimmings. A very cheap but hearty meal on a good cold day. Let's give this a good taste. All right, let's see what this is talking about. Just cool down a little bit. Oh man, it is just absolute perfection. Cabbage, onions, nice and tender. Those potatoes are so tender, but holding together very well. And that meat, those rib tips cooked to perfection. That Tony's is money. Give this a shot. Let me know what you think, man. Hit me up in the comments below. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys once again for hanging out with Mom and Papa Joe's. Very simple recipe. No need to waste those rib scraps. Make this happen. Let me know what you think. Hit me up in the comments below. And as usual, if you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, man, I don't know what you're waiting for. We're giving you the good stuff. Let's make it happen. Thanks again for watching. And you guys take care. Be on the lookout for our next video.